morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Flint. If you are visiting today, we want to extend to you an especially warm welcome and an invitation to return again soon. We are a welcoming congregation. We hold out our hands to the old, to the young, the poor, the rich, the able-bodied, the challenged, and all of those in between too. We extend our arms to people of every color, and we embrace everyone, no matter who you love. All we ask is that you do love. May you enter as a stranger, but leave as a friend. And if you would like more information about our congregation, please feel free to contact one of our ministers or our office, or either by email or numbers that can be found on our website, which is uuflint.org. We've got a brand new one and we're proud of it. And at this time, I have a few announcements. If you would like to honor your father next Sunday, our minister, the Reverend Jerry Kerr, who's on the email on the website, you can send in a picture to him of your father or some picture of something that was significant to your father, and give us an idea of what the relationship was like. And we are grateful for the gifts of time, talent, and treasure that everyone has given to this congregation. And we will gratefully accept your online gifts too. We have, again, our website, which is uuflint.org, and you can give gifts that way, or we will accept checks in the mail. There has been a survey monkey sent out asking for your vote on the second Sunday donation. Those of you that don't know, part of our mission is to help the greater community, and we do this by having every second Sunday a donation that is designated for a particular organization, and we're asking people to vote on which ones they want us to use this year. And so please return that when you get it. It should be to you by email. And please consider taking part in the online Poor People's March on Washington. We want newsmakers in Washington to know that millions of Americans want changes that will help solve the problems of poverty. Just go to the poorpeoplescampaign.org and sign up by June 20th so that your voice is counted. And after this service, if you will stay for the congregational meeting, it comes immediately afterwards, and what you do is to go to the normal Zoom meeting that we have on our email, that account, and that'll take you right into the congregational meeting. And now Kathy Frazee has a few words.
Good morning. I'm here on behalf of the nominating committee, and today we celebrate all of us and the work that we have done during the past church year. I would like to thank the following members of the committee for their efforts this year: Terry Cross, Donna Loading, Edie Robbins, and Lynn McTiernan, who is our board liaison. We have learned that we do our best work at lunchtime in a Chinese restaurant. The nominating committee has the pleasure of presenting the Outstanding Volunteer Award, also affectionately known as the Volunteer of the Year, and the Jennifer Howard Lifetime Achievement Awards today. These honorees were chosen from your nominations. Before we present the honors, we would like to recognize all of you. We all do so much to keep UUCF functioning well. Here are a few examples of how our members dedicate their time. Prepare and clean up for coffee hour. Send cards or call members who need support. Mow the lawn and clean up the grounds. Paint, paint, and more paint. Serve on the board and committees. Help with fundraisers. Greet each other. Usher. Serve as an office person or security on Sunday mornings. Serve as a worship associate. Guide our children in faith development and special activities. Organize special activities and concerts, organize the archives and storage areas, and provide music. We thank all of you for all your time that you have spent volunteering this year. Each of you has enriched our congregation in your own way. We'd like to especially recognize the huge number of hours that John Straw, Harold Ford, John Helsam, and Raina Bick have been contributing to us through improving our building and its organization. This morning, we are honoring an outstanding volunteer. Last church year, this person had just been on the board a few months when the treasurer had back surgery. The treasurer's job has to be done. So along with Raina Bick, this person stepped in to take care of this work. Our honoree learned the necessary computer system and took care of the bills. When the treasurer resigned due to health concerns, she took over all the duties and became treasurer. This church year, the membership committee wanted to create a new photo church directory when our new ministers came in September. Photography was one of her favorite hobbies, and she had a very good camera. She volunteered to take the pictures for the directory. This was an incredible amount of work and involved scheduling, communication, hauling, and setting up equipment, taking the photos, and working with the printing company. This process took a great deal of time and dedication. In addition, she purchased backdrops and special lighting with her own funds. These purchases improve the quality of our photos. She is currently working with Erin Monroe to get the directory out. We are not done yet. In November, when we no longer had a church administrator, this person, along with a few others, stepped in to make sure that all of our office work was completed. She spent many hours over many weeks finding out where things were kept, updating the filing system, and going through the mail. As a treasurer, she knew her part of the bill paying process, but she stepped in to take care of the church administrator's part of this process. She made sure that our bills were paid on time. You should also know that this person was working full-time while supporting our office and adjusted her own work hours to be present at times where she was most needed here. This person poured so much time, effort, and talent into our congregation for the last 2 years. UUCF is happy to honor Anne Marie Roberts with our Outstanding Volunteer of the Year for 2020. Anne Marie, we can't thank you enough for all that you have done to help and support UUCF. Congratulations, Anne Marie. Next, we would like to honor a member of our congregation with the Jennifer Howard Lifetime Achievement Award. This award is given to someone who has consistently volunteered each year over the lifetime of their membership. They continue to do important work that benefits all of us and keeps UUCF vital and stable. We all know this year's honoree for all the beautiful songs she graces us with by singing and playing her guitar. This person also leads the flute choir and was a founder and is still a member of the folk music group West. Our congregation so appreciates the beautiful music that both West and the flute choir provide for us during services. Our honoree is inspirational, both in the music she shares and in the heartfelt emotions she expresses when she talks about how much this church means to her. What many of you may not know are the many ways that she quietly serves our church. She served on the Committee on Ministry when Reverend Oliva was our minister. The members of this committee could always count on her to have a thoughtful response to whatever problem or concern we were dealing with. When we began using PowerPoints during our services, our honoree took over programming the slides and continues to do this work. She even creates the PowerPoints while she's on vacation. We all appreciate the consistent quality of these creations and seeing the backgrounds that she has chosen. This past church year, she also started working as one of our sound room techs once a month. About 4 years ago, she joined the finance committee. Because of her work in banking and other talents, she has been an excellent addition for the committee. She began learning our ICON accounting system and started helping with weekly church deposits and reconciling the checkbook. When Dave Handwerker moved and left the position of finance chair, she took over the position. When everything started shutting down in mid-March of this year, the finance committee had to change how they did things. Our honoree stepped up to get every bill possible paid with EFT and set up how to pay everything else with the credit union generated checks. Finance committee was working on getting away from check writing and signing, and she made it possible to immediately make this switch. She has continued to learn more about the ICON system and is currently the point person to thank for keeping track of our church finances. For all that she has done for our church, her many years of dedicated service, her many ways of serving, sharing her beautiful music, her warmth, and her wonderful hugs, UUCF is so pleased to honor Bonnie Pobosic with the Jennifer Howard Lifetime Achievement Award for 2020. Jennifer, thank you so much for sharing your talents and gifts with us. Congratulations. I hope you come. Please come on up. I want to show you something. Well, as it happens, Bonnie was here for a finance committee meeting, and we invited her in. She did not know why she was here for the service. So your name will be added to this plaque, and we do have a gift for you, but we didn't know you were going to be here today. So we give you huge virtual hugs. And
I am honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything you do. Thank you. Now Jennifer will play our prelude.
This is the point in our service where we light our chalice. This light reminds us that in this place we are a community of fragile, not perfect human beings that gather to find peace, love, and hope. Thank you, Kathy. And I think for many of us, it's nice to see a real chalice. If you'll join with me now in reciting our covenant, recognizing the richness of diversity, the beauty and wonder of shared worship, and the transforming power of love and service, we gather as a sacred, intentional community to freely seek knowledge and truth, to celebrate the fullness of life, and by our actions to increase goodness and justice.
Good morning and welcome. Our opening words this morning are entitled, "When News Has Been Sad." You whose hearts are broken, come in. You whom pain has touched, you who have cried this week and read the news with sadness, you whom loss has shadowed, you who grieve, come in. You who with hearts open to joy and hope, come in. You whom love has touched, you who have laughed this week, you who have felt gratitude, come in. All our hearts are broken and open. All of us here grieve and rejoice. This is our place, and this is our hour. To gather and sing and cry and laugh. Come in, let us be together.
Good morning, and let us enter into a spirit of meditation. What's going to happen? Will everything be okay? What can I do? In these days, we find ourselves too often stuck with these questions on repeat. We grasp at signs and markers, articles on the news, and analysis. Facebook memes and forwarded emails, as if we are capable of forecasting all that life may yet bring us, as if we could prepare. As if life may yet bring our way something that makes sense. Maybe things might turn out the way we thought. For this hour, we gather to release ourselves from the needing to know, the yearning to have it already figured out, and also the burden of believing we either have all the control or none. Here we make space for a new breath, a new possibility to take root. That is courage forged in the fire of our coming together. We believe still a new world is possible and that we are creating it already, here and now. Blessed be.
Today's reading is from the pen of UU minister Paul Dodenhoff. For years now, my conservative friends have asked me, do you really want to live in a welfare state? I thought about it, and I've decided, yes, I do. I want to live in a welfare state. If we define welfare in the original meaning of the word, the condition of being or getting along well, to fare well, then yes, I want to live in a welfare state. If welfare means that my well-being and the well-being of everyone else means that we all have healthy food, clean water, clean air, proper housing, and affordable, if not totally free education, and full access to complete health care throughout our lives, then yes, I want to live in a welfare state. If welfare means that we take care of the earth, end the destructive practices that are poisoning the planet, we are blessed to share and begin to implement policies and practices that support and sustain our lives and the lives of generations to come, then yes, I want to live in a welfare state. If welfare means that people, and not corporations and corporate profits, are the primary concern of our politicians and our national and international policies, then yes, I want to live in a welfare state. If welfare means that the rights of all people to live in safety are protected by sensible laws that protect the citizens and children against violence and those who place personal freedom over the good of all people, then yes, I want to live in a welfare state. If welfare means that all people, regardless of their color, spiritual or ethical beliefs, gender, sexual orientation, or political views, are afforded the same rights and privileges as everyone else, then yes, I want to be in that welfare state. If welfare means that all people, without exception, are given the right to vote without fear of harm, reprisal, or discrimination, and that money plays no part in whether a person can run for and hold office, then yes, I want to be in a welfare state. If welfare means that our justice system does not favor corporations or one part of society over the other, then yes, I want to live in a welfare state. If welfare means that our prison system is one that is not run for profit by profit corporations, and that its purpose is to be restorative and not to be punitive, and one that sees the humanity in all people, difficult as that may be at times, then yes, I want to live in a welfare state. If welfare means having an economic system that does not exploit workers and does not perpetuate an oppressive class system, one that assures that all people have the dignity to work and have a fair and livable wage, then yes, I want to live in a welfare state. If welfare means that our system of taxation is fair, progressive, and free of loopholes that favor the wealthy and corporations over all others, then yes, I want to live in a welfare state. If welfare means that each of us care for the other, that the least among you is cared for and loved as much as everyone else, that racism, sexism, ageism, and all negative and harmful isms become a thing of the past, that we all support each other in living our lives to the fullest potential, and that we are all faring well, then yes, I want to live in a welfare state. In fact, I want to live in a welfare world.
Pundits like Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, and Ann Coulter love to make judgments on what is good and what is bad. All of us do this, really, but I might argue that there are those that are better than some others. It can cause stress or provide entertainment, depending on who's listening. Rush Limbaugh, a recent recipient of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, said, "The coronavirus is the common cold, folks. It's being weaponized as yet another element to bring down Donald Trump." Hannity asks some form of the question often, "Is it that you hate the president or you hate America. And Ann Coulter once said, God gave us the earth. We have dominion over the plants, the animals, the trees. God said, earth is yours. Take it, rape it, it's yours. And you may remember that after 9/11, fundamentalist preachers Pat Robertson and Jerry Falwell got together for a TV show. Falwell's list of guilty parties for the tragic day included the pagans and the abortionists and the feminists and the gays and the lesbians who are actively trying to make that an alternative lifestyle. Not to mention the ACLU and People for the American Way for good measure. Robertson's response to Falwell's sermon venom, I totally concur. Now, since the 1950s, right-wingers in America have blamed left-wingers for racism, war, slavery, recessions, communism, and Hitler. They say that people from the media and academia are all part of a liberal society that is responsible for creating evil in America. As you might imagine, I didn't understand that I was buying into this philosophy when, as a child, I listened to Paul Harvey, the more polite, earlier version of the conservative commentators I've mentioned. Now, most mornings when I was a kid, Harvey was on the radio as I got ready for school. Now, back then, I didn't really know much about conservatives or liberals. I just liked his soothing voice and his catchphrases, page 2, and the rest of the story, and good day. Somehow you just felt better when Paul Harvey was on the job. But Harvey happened to be one of the most popular right-wing radio personalities of his time. In 2009, his New York Times obituary read, in part, he railed against welfare cheats and defended the death penalty. He worried about big government, permissive parents, leftist radicals, and America succumbing to moral decay. He championed rugged individualism, love of God and country, and the fundamental decency of ordinary people. Now, I also didn't know back then that in 1965, Harvey had recorded a message that is still shared around the internet today. In fact, in 1996, he edited it and sent it out again. You can still find it on many Christian websites today. It was a warning that in this country, if it continued its path of moral degradation, America would be destroyed. And he called it, "If I Were the Devil." And he detailed the steps the devil needed to take to ensure our demise. Now, some conservatives believe his prophecy is becoming eerily true. More progressive people see many of his predictions as the only salvation to America. I'll let you decide. Jerry will be reading the transcript portion written by Paul Harvey, and I will be the Princess of Darkness.
If I were the devil, if I were the Prince of Darkness, I'd want to engulf the whole world in darkness, and I'd have 1/3 of its real estate and 4/5 of its population. But I wouldn't be happy until I seized the ripest apple on the tree, thee. So I'd set about, however necessary, to take over the United States.
Paul, Ms. Devil here. Sorry if you were expecting a manly Beelzebub to hang out with. You know, I don't think I'd worry too much about the darkness thing. I'd just let climate change deniers continue destroying the Earth's atmosphere. That's an easy way to let them kill everything. And the US is well on its way. You know, they just backed out of the Paris Climate Accord, and the president they have now, he doesn't even believe in climate change. The planet's getting hotter and hotter. In fact, it's getting hot as, well, my home sweet home. I suppose I could help those Amazon fires along and maybe start a few more in California. And as far as taking over the US, gosh, haven't you heard, Paul? They've lost their standing in the world. In the last few years, well, they're really not the prize they used to be. Heck, people from other countries right now are rioting so that the US citizens get more justice. Isn't that crazy?
If I were the devil, I'd subvert the churches first. I'd begin with a campaign of whispers, with the wisdom of a serpent. I would whisper to you as I whispered to Eve, do as you please. To the young, I would whisper that the Bible is a myth. I would convince them that man created God instead of the other way around. I would confide that what's bad is good, and what's good is square.
Oh, baby, lighten up on the serpents, will ya? They aren't really evil, just different. And you've got it backwards. We want the Bible believers. I mean, that's where I got my start. And the parts where women submit to their husbands, and you need to be quiet in church, and condemning gay people to death, and that part that says humans can subdue the earth, red hot stuff. That stuff really stirs up some hatred and division and destroys the environment. I love it. Now, the people that we really need to deal with are those nuts who are good for the sake of being good. They don't believe in the Bible or that they'll be punished by God or anything, but they're still compassionate and kind. Can you believe it? If I'm going to take down America, it's the humanists and the pagans and the atheists I need to tempt, not the Christians. The irony is killing me. I need to convince these bleeding hearts that social justice is for suckers and success is about making yourself happy. Make them believe that compassion is a sham and life is hard enough without going out of your way to help somebody else.
And if I were the devil, the old, I would teach him to pray after me, Our Father, which art in Washington. And then I'd get organized. I'd educate authors how to make lurid literature exciting so that anything else would appear dull and uninteresting. I'd threaten TV with dirtier movies. I'd peddle narcotics to whom I could. I'd sell alcohol to ladies and gentlemen of distinction. I'd tranquilize the rest with pills.
Paul. You really should stick to reading page 2 news and then go have yourself a good day. If people trust in the power of the government of the people and for the people, I should have convinced Wilkes Booth to shoot Lincoln before he wrote that. My timing was off. If they believe they can work together for the good, well, then I am in trouble. If they've got a good, strong government, they'll have the power to defeat the forces of evil. And that's me, Harvey. If you want me to bring down America anytime soon, we need to get people to hate the idea of working together in a nation of laws and the way that we create a more just and equal society. You really missed on this one, Harvey. This is like, 9/11 caused by feminism. I've got a book for you, Paul. It's called Discerning the Causes of Evil for Dummies. And drugs and alcohol, tools of the trade. I like where you're going with this one, Harvey, but we'll make it even worse by treating drug addicts as scum of the earth, incarcerate millions of them and giving them long sentences, even for nonviolent offenses, and then we'll let HIV spread among all the injection drug users instead of giving them, clean syringes. Oh, wait, America's already doing that. Well, good job on that one, Paul.
If I were the devil, I'd soon have families at war with themselves, churches at war with themselves, and nations at war with themselves, until each in its turn was consumed. And with promises of higher ratings, I'd have mesmerized media fanning the flames. If I were the devil, I would encourage schools to refine young intellect, but neglect to discipline emotions. I'd tell teachers to let those students run wild. And before you knew it, you'd have drug-sniffing dogs and metal detectors at every schoolhouse door. Within a decade, I'd have prisons overflowing and judges promoting pornography. Soon I could evict God from the courthouse and the schoolhouse, and then from the houses of Congress.
Wow. You're all over the place on this one, Mr. Harvey. You need an editor. My evil intuition tells me your ideas will bring in the light, not the darkness. Whose side are you on? I've seen churches at war with themselves, and the result can be something called progress, not moral decay. Have you ever heard of a little thing called the Reformation, Paul? No more telling people they can go to heaven if they give money to the church. That Reformation. And look at the Unitarians. They came out of a war between the Puritans that were liberal and the conservative Puritans, and now they're the people I'm having the most difficulty with. No, we want the churches to be at peace within themselves, lest they reform themselves. And listen, about evicting God from courthouses and schoolhouses, pretty much the same thing. Now, if Americans do that, they'll progress beyond the cultural limitations of Christianity that contradict the morality Jesus preached. Repeat after me, Paul. We want religion to stay in the courthouses and schoolhouses. No progress in the separation of church and state equals the hastening of Americans' downfall. Rah, rah, rah. The only thing you got right here was your thirst for corporal punishment in schools. Yep, beat kids regularly, and it'll make more violent criminals out of them and fill up the prisons. And that will certainly break America's budget. That's what the devil would do, and I should know. But well done on that anyway, Paul, but otherwise kind of a D-.
In his own churches, I would substitute psychology for religion and deify science. I'd lure priests and pastors into misusing boys and girls and church money.
I thought you were catching on here, Paul, baby. Deify science? No! Science is the one big thing Americans have going for them, and we don't want them to embrace it. Science uses a thing called reason. Paul, your buddy God gave the power of reasoning to humans. I have to keep them from using it, or they will finally convince everybody that man-made global warming is a fact.
If I were Satan, I'd make the symbol of Easter an egg and the symbol of Christmas a bottle.
You know, somehow I doubt that either of these things are going to bring on the moral decay of America. Easter eggs are fun, and I doubt Jesus would forbid them. And Jesus, didn't he supposedly turn water into wine. That man was evidently no stranger to a bottle. And if you're going to pretend you are the devil, Paul, you need to go bigger.
If I were the devil, I'd take from those who have and give to those who want, until I had killed the incentive of the ambitious. And what do you bet? I could get whole states to promote gambling as the way to get rich. I would caution against hard work and patriotism and moral conduct.
Honey, on this we agree. I knew you had some good evil in you. But just remember, a lot of goody two-shoes don't like gambling, and will fight this. I need to get the government to defund Gamblers Anonymous and get every state to make gambling legal. And Paul, the welfare state is not the problem. We need to make the income gap even larger. That will destroy hope. And you know, children shouldn't expect handouts. Put them to work. Most of those people's great-grandfathers were working at the age of 11 and couldn't get a good education, and that keeps them down nicely. And the current president, he's against immigrants, and that causes a real brain drain in America. And forget what it says on the Statue of Liberty. Hey, maybe a war will get started. And no, Paul, extreme patriotism brings America down faster than anything. Country first. That starts a war. People need to wave the flag until their arms hurt.
If I were the devil, I would convince the young that marriage is old-fashioned, that swinging is more fun, that what you see on the TV is the way to be. And thus, I could undress you in public, and I could lure you into bed with diseases for which there is no cure. In other words, if I were the devil, I'd just keep right on doing what I'm already doing. Paul Harvey, good day.
Well, Paul, you're being a bit melodramatic, but I'm working on the disease thing and doing a fantastic job, if I might add. But no more tax money for condoms and sex education, Paul. That's the key. You see, I can spread STDs faster than you can say family values voters. But if we people teach their kiddies about responsible behavior, I waste a whole lot of perfectly good viruses and bacteria. Wait, what time is it? Oh, I gotta go support some white supremacists at a rally for the founder of the KKK. You know, those guys do good work. You know, I miss you, Harvey. You really inspired me, even though you were a real amateur at discerning evil. But you know what? You love what's happening right now. Riots, police shooting innocent people, the military called out by the president. I just can't stop smiling. There's some resistance, though, that worries me. There's lots of awfully compassionate, rational people who are trying to break my favorite AK-47 of hate, racism. I need to work on them. Gotta go. But as you would say, Paul, good day.
Our closing words today are entitled, A World Attained. And now, since the struggle deepens, since evil abides and good does not yet prosper, let us gather what strength we have and make the world awaited be the world attained. Let us go in peace.
And we'll extinguish the chalice together. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Thank you for joining us this morning. And just a reminder, if you go to our normal Sunday Zoom code, we will have a congregational meeting. Thank you.